So he was implying that you guys were gay.
Obviously, yes.
And he was implying that that would be shocking to him, and he wouldn't, like, he was like, oh, I didn't know we were letting gays in here. Ugh. His words, not mine.
Pretty much, yeah.
What happened after that?
Tuesday morning, I didn't have a job.
Oh,
wow. That's insane.
This happened on a Saturday morning.
What were you told?
Nothing personal, but we can't continue your employment here. That was it.
This next caller had 2 bad employment experiences.
It was terrible. The first time he had his tip stolen from him.
And the second time he was fired for maybe being gay? Let's find out. Tell us what you're going through.
So pretty much I got 2 prior employment, about 2 years, a little over 2 years at one job and a few months at the other. One, probably a little bit more cut and dry. The other, honestly, I have no clue where to begin on.
Okay, let's start with the first one.
Start with the...
Yeah, what happened with the first one?
So we're looking at a tip pooling situation. Although when I first was hired on there was no tip pool. Pretty much, I was working at a cigar bar, right? So it was hourly plus tip. Between the two, at first, I was making about $30 an hour.
Okay.
A new general manager came on and established him and the owner established between them that all of a sudden there would be a pooling situation based off of the number of hours that everybody works. Obviously, the general manager, he sets the hours. He gets the most hours. He gets the biggest slice of the pie. However, I was always one, bringing in the biggest piece of that, right? So it averaged out to be about every 2-week pay period. On the card tips, I would bring in about $1,200 to $1,400, sometimes $1,500 or more. But I would only receive maybe 7, 8, or 9 of that.
Wow.
Every 2 weeks. Essentially what I figured was, the owner was too cheap to pay the GM really what he was worth. So instead he saw, a pool of money just sitting there that he could pull from. So legally speaking, I've looked into it. I'm aware that you can't, 1, if you're a general manager, you can't receive funds from a tip pool, and 2, if you're the owner, you can't redistribute funds from that tip pool. So I just want to recover about $10,000 over 2 years.
So I just want to make sure I understand. So it's 2 years that you were working there. The early on, new manager gets this tip pool, and the owner starts saying, "Okay, great, manager's going to share in that tip pool."
Right.
Wow. Okay, so just right off the bat, I'm just going to be very clear. Managers are not allowed to participate in a tip pool. Tip pools are legal. There's some limitations on it, but a manager is only allowed to, according to the Department of Labor, able to share if they solely provide the service. And you know why that rule exists? So this fucking situation doesn't happen. Because the GMs always have the power, right? And the owners always have the power. And, someone working for tips generally isn't the one with all the power, right? So,
well, but the manager provides an important function. Because if he isn't there to collect the tip pool, how would you have the tip pool?
Yeah, that's correct. And without his getting greased, right, how would, they cook the fried chicken at the cigar bar? But
Jeff, this sounds really shitty. Why did you said you stayed for 2 years after they started doing this? What was the thought process there? Did you complain? Anything in writing?
Oh, yeah, I complained all the time with them. There's probably some text threads somewhere here and there. I never deleted any text messages that I had with him, the owner. And the GM too.
And what did they say?
Yeah, there was a lot of friction over that time, but I stayed because I love the job and the customer, and it was still, even after taking it from $30 an hour to $21 an hour, it was still decent money. So I decided to stay and eventually seek retribution, you could say.
Vengeance is mine, thus saith Jeff Winger. How long ago?
So I just let
Yeah. How long ago? We like to call it justice, not retribution, but that's okay.
Yeah,
that's okay. Your words are good. We get what you mean. How long ago did you leave?
Pretty much exactly a year ago.
Okay. And is that business still there? Are they still operating?
Yeah, they're still operating. The building changed, but the business is still the same entity, same owner, same GM, same all that.
Were there any other wages that you didn't get besides those tips?
No.
Was there any commission or anything that you should have been paid?
No, there was no commission. We had that conversation. I wanted a commission, but we specifically would not establish that.
Gotcha.
How big is this operation? How many employees are similar to you?
A very small operation. 1 general manager and then 2 to 3, occasionally 4 part-ish to full-time employees.
And do you know if they're
depending, on what's going on.
do you know if they're still doing the tip pooling now with the employees they do have?
I have no idea. I would imagine so. That's a substantial chunk of free money for the GM, and it's free labor that the owner doesn't have to pay.
It might be worth going to get a cup of coffee or a cigar, and then I just ask, or maybe even have a friend go get a cup of coffee or a cigar or something, and just ask the waiter or waitress that's there right now, hey, are you still doing tip pool? Because if they're not, they might know that what they were doing was wrong. They might have found out recently that what they were doing is wrong, and they might be willing to settle this to not have additional claims. And if they are,
Well, I'll put it to you, yeah.
and if they are still doing it, then you have a active violation that you might be able to report. So then there's a threat of, hey, you're still doing this thing that's wrong. So I don't. Bill, thoughts on this? I'm riffing.
I think you can ask. I try to do it in a way that's not at the actual place of employment if you can. If you get into any kind of substance conversation, you do have a right to be able to talk to current and former employees about the conditions of the work. That's a protected thing under the National Labor Relations Act. So you don't have to worry about getting in trouble. Now, employees might be worried because it sounds like the management there is a bunch of dickheads. But the long and short of it is, yeah, I mean, this sounds like a really straightforward situation of having money taken away that shouldn't have been taken away. And the Texas Workforce Commission is a place that you can go directly. They literally have one of these issues is wages or tips that were not being paid in the right way or were being siphoned away. And what they'll do is they'll fight on behalf of not only the government's interest in making sure that it's done right, but they will help fight on your behalf as well. Since you're no longer there, it's not that big of a deal. But man, you got fucked here. Only thing I could ask is, are these cigars good, or what do you think?
I mean, some of them were, but honestly, most of the ones that they liked weren't.
You ever worked for tips, Panda?
No, I never would, man. You were better than me. 2 years you stayed there, right? Dang, man, I would have stole so much shit. I mean, but yeah, I would have got my money back. That's what I'm saying, bro. I'm a Christian, but not a good one. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh man. But I'm glad you're seeking help, dog. You're at the right place.
So how did you end up leaving the job at the cigar bar?
The owner and I eventually had a falling out, and they decided to let me go. But that was after a substantial build-up. He and I absolutely hate each other's guts. We'll put it that way.
Yikes! So did you end up just leaving, or did you get fired?
Pretty much both.
What was there? Something,
one or the other?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, what do you mean? Like,
who
you
broke
said
up
you
with
were
who?
gonna quit, and he said you can't. You got fired, and it was a sitcom or what?
Something like that.
Gotcha. Well,
he did not tell me himself. We'll put it that way.
Do you feel like there was anything wrongful about how you're fired, or were we just focused here on the tips issue?
We're just focused on the tips issue with that one.
Gotcha. Okay.
The other one is frankly the bigger fish, and the one that I don't feel I was let go fairly there.
Have you reported this or considered reporting this to the Workforce Commission?
I considered it, but I had absolutely no way of attaining the records. That was the last thing I was working on before I suddenly but expectedly left there. I was planning to stick on for a couple more days to sift through the records. I think he caught drift. I was about to go through all the payroll records at the place.
Gotcha. So let's do this. The thing you really need to do right now, and we'll send you the information for it, is get in contact with the Texas Workforce Commission. They have the right to be able to go get records and other things like that. They have the power of subpoenas and document requests, and the employers have to listen to them. If not, then they're going to get some very lonely, very angry investigator coming after them, and that's not something you have to pay for. So that's going to be the first place to go, and definitely reach back out to us if you're running any snags. We can help get you with some other either attorneys or resources that could help. But let's talk about that other issue you mentioned, having a second termination issue.
Yeah. Well, I just do have one question on the Texas Workforce. Is there a time limit? Like, it doesn't expire in 2 years or whatever, or 6 months, or
every private right of claim has a statute of limitations. So your ability to sue will have a certain limitation. Every state's different. Texas, it's not coming up to mind right off the bat. But more importantly, the Texas Workforce Commission is going to have the ability to go and do the kinds of things that are outside of your ability to sue. So first call you want to make is still to the Texas Workforce Commission. When did you leave that position at the cigar bar?
Almost exactly a year and a month ago.
Okay, so I don't think the issue is a year. I think it's a couple years. So you're going to have some time to be able to work with them. But I would still not dawdle. You don't want to let the cigar bar burn some documents in the back. And it may be that it's as short as 6 months. It could have been a year, but that, like, for you to be able to make a claim. But either way, still want to go to the Workforce Commission, because at the very least you can let them know and let them go get after them. Josh?
There is a 180-day statute of limitation that our intern just threw up on the screen for filing a wage claim. But I think your argument is going to be that there was impropriety in how they handled the funds itself. That was a violation, and that you just recently became aware of it. So if you knew you were supposed to be paid X amount of dollars and they did not pay you, like let's say they didn't give you a paycheck, the way that I'm reading this statute on wage claims, 61.051, you'd have 180 days to report that. But that's not what you're going to say, right? If they go, oh, this is outside of the 180-day reporting window, you're going to go, yeah, but I didn't know until just now that they weren't allowed to take that money from me.
It's going to be an uphill battle, because most of the time it's from when you discovered the injury and you knew that they were taking it. So it's going to be hard even if you didn't know that it was wrong. So that still might be a problem, but it's still worth trying to do, because there's some differentiation between wages, like a salary or hourly amount, versus the tips itself. So it's still worth going to do either way, because there might be the possibility of getting it back. The other possibility is that there may be a fund available in certain states. That may not apply to you here in Texas, but some states may have the ability to pay that out directly from what the employers are paying out. So that could be helpful for some of our listeners going through the same issue.
I'd also encourage you, even if it's an uphill battle for you to get these wages back through the Workforce Commission, start the process of reporting this so that they can't continue this practice for all the other people that might work there, right? Like, you can get the investigation started. They might be able to look into it, find that there was wrongdoing, and then punish or levy fines on the employer. And, this is the kind of stuff that we don't want to see. That's the reason we have the Workforce Commission, to make sure that people aren't getting taken advantage of. Also, like, they're not expecting you to be a lawyer, Jeff Winger. Like you're not. You don't have to be a lawyer to report something to the Workforce Commission. You don't have to have every single T crossed or every I dotted.
They'll ask the questions.
When there's smoke, there's fire. You're going to say, hey, I think I was wrong, and let them do the investigation. And that's a great starting point. It's not going to cost you anything, just a little bit of your time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, cool. You said you had another issue.
Yeah. So this one might be cut and dry. I mean, on the surface it does, but in pursuing a lawsuit is a little bit more muddy for me.
Okay, let's hear it.
I was after the cigar bar, spent some time, a little unemployed, picked up some odd jobs, and then finally I landed the sales gig that I've been looking for a while. Really good sales. I was projecting to make about maybe $300,000 this year.
Wow.
But at the company Christmas party.
Say that number again. 300,000?
Yeah, that's about average that you could make as a sales rep there, and I was hitting the average numbers.
What were you selling?
Bathroom remodeling, with a remodeling company around here.
Okay.
Corporation, rather. They're owned. If you follow what they're owned by.
So you're getting commission for every
bathroom.
bathroom.
They're owned by York Capital through Titan Holdings, which they own a bunch of nationwide. I mean, we're talking they've got a few $billion laying around.
And you had uncapped commission. You could make 300,000 selling.
Maybe that was the cap?
Yeah. Was there a base?
No, there was no base. There was no cap. I mean, some folks are getting close to $500,000.
Wow.
Okay. And so you were doing well at it.
It's a lot of bidets. All right.
I was new to the company. It was 3 months in. Pretty much exactly 3 months in. I'm at the company Christmas party, and I bring a +1. Because they offer you can bring a +1, right?
Okay.
And I decide, instead of taking a date, I'm going to take my best friend because he's working at a fucking head shop, still is working at a head shop. I know he can do better, so I wanted to like introduce him to the company, right? See if he wants to maybe broaden his horizons and maybe apply if he likes, some people that he meets there. So I bring him along to the Christmas party it was at the Gaylord Texan.
Okay.
At the table we sit down at with me, a coworker, and my friend. Just so it was either the head of marketing or higher management in the marketing department. Sits down. We introduce ourselves. He asks who my friend is. And he goes, "Oh, yeah, I'm his plus one." And then he cuts off my friend and he goes, gives him this those really awkward grimacing grins.
Yeah.
Like this?
Stiffer. I don't know. I can't see.
Okay, well then we'll say that's what it was.
Okay, but yeah, he's like, really awkward thumbs up, and he goes, "Oh, good for y'all. I didn't know we were that type of company." Didn't say another word to us for the rest of the evening. He and I ended up leaving because, fuck all that. We got our dinner. It's kind of a lame party anyhow, but after that, I didn't really want to hang around too long, anywho's.
So he was implying that you guys were gay.
Obviously, yes.
And he was implying that would be shocking to him, and he wouldn't. Like, he was like, "Oh, I didn't know we
so
were letting gays in here." His words, not mine.
Yeah. Essentially, yeah.
What happened after that? Did it come back up? Was this something that other folks have seen happen?
Tuesday morning, I didn't have a job.
Oh,
wow, that's insane.
What were you told?
There's some nothing personal, but we can't continue your employment here. That was it.
That no.
Didn't specify anything.
Wow.
Nope. They did not specify anything other than my manager called me a couple weeks later to say, "Hey, it's nothing personal."
Well, then what was it? Was it performance? Did you have performance issues? You were on track to make 300,000.
Yeah, I was hitting the average numbers.
Had you been on a performance improvement plan? Had you been chastised? Had there been any kind of reprimanding that had happened before that Christmas party?
No.
3 months. He's only there for 3 months.
And he's not even getting a base salary.
No base salary, right?
For the first 3 months, there was like a little bit, but after that was it.
You had already transitioned from base. You'd already transitioned from base to commission only at that point, right?
Yeah.
Were there any other people laid off or let go at that time in the sales team?
I'm sure there was. They probably do an end of year purge every year anyhow.
Okay, but do you think you were part of an end of year purge, or do you think it had to do with the fact that your head of marketing thought that you were bringing a gay lover to the Christmas party?
I would say that the timing has more to do with the latter.
Okay.
Given that I was given, so here's how you get your leads issued, right? Your appointments issued through software, right? So Monday I had 2. They were both dead. The customers they were out of town, but whatever, that shit happens.
Okay.
And then I noticed Monday night I was issued 2 more leads. And then later on that night they were gone. Tuesday morning on there was nothing. You know how it goes when you get cut from the schedule at a restaurant. It's essentially the same thing on the sales team.
Right. Well, here's my initial impression. Well, first of all, anything else that you want to add on that you think we should know about when you were terminated to your head of marketing being homophobic?
Really, no. I mean, that's the only time I ever met the guy.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't even remember his name.
I'm shocked the comedian has nothing to. There's a lot of.
Panda.
You can make some hay with this.
The gay dude. I mean, dude, I don't know. I love partying with gay dudes. They're the best. They're not gonna take your chick.
Actually, gay. I mean,
wait,
I know
let's
he's
ask
not.
one question. 2 questions. Are you gay, Jeff? It doesn't matter. We love you either way.
No.
Okay. Now, second question. Was your date gay? We love him.
No.
Doesn't matter either. Okay. Do you
No,
kind of look? Does he kind of look gay?
The best. I mean,
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay, he does.
See, that's what it was.
that 100% doesn't. This is what your head of marketing does. Okay. Yeah. All
Well,
right.
no. Let's let Panda go first. Panda, thoughts on
doesn't
this so far?
matter.
Thoughts on this? It does.
But you never know, bro. One of my close friends plays volleyball, looks ultra gay, biggest womanizer ever, bro. I'll say his name right now. No, I'm kidding. No, but I mean, it just sucks, dude. Because I'm not gonna say the name, but at a company a long time ago when I was in college, same thing. Like they were very old school, Southern. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
So they said this to me at a party. They said this to me at a party. They said, "We thought you were biracial because you're pretty smart." I fucking laughed.
Hey, you got a little white in you.
Yeah,
Sounds like something my mom would say.
Yeah. She goes, "No, well, you're light skinned at least." That's what they told me. Like, this was the owner's father.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh man, why can't I just be gay? You know what I'm saying?
Well, let's just talk about this. This is a travesty, right? You guys are selling bathroom remodels and you don't have any gays at the company. Like, who's doing these bathroom remodels? Like, you
Someone's
need
gotta
at least
design
a
them.
few
Could've made
gays.
millions. Yeah.
Are you telling me that
Like,
you're?
no.
You telling me they're not selling bathroom remodels to the gays? Because let's start this company up tomorrow.
Yeah, we can destroy them.
No, it is.
Funny that you should mention that the company as a whole actually, before they were bought by this corporation, had a history of, you know how Chick-fil-A does or used to fund a certain charity that would have like shock therapy and shit like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard about that.
They had a history of being known to fund things like that. I actually had one old school redneck woman customer ask me if they were still doing that. I said, I don't know. That's above my pay grade, but essentially the company's just run by a bunch of redneck good old boys.
Have you
know.
talked to a lawyer about this employment discrimination? Is this the first time?
This is the first time, yeah.
I think this case is sexy.
It is a sexy.
It's
case.
this is at
Yeah.
least worth. As a lawyer, I'm going. I kind of want to poke around a little bit on this employment
I mean,
discrimination
shit,
claim.
fucking send them a piece of paper saying 15 mil or whatever. I don't know. I would love to pursue it because, like I said, I know there's a big fucking bank account waiting there that, frankly, I feel like I was let go when I was, doing pretty stellar.
I mean, this is to me. You've got the outlines of something that is a real case.
It feels
and,
real.
And what we want to do is get you to some names of some folks that you can talk to, see which ones would be a good fit that might, that will have experience with these types of claims.
I have a question. Bill, maybe you know the answer, maybe you don't. We have some notes here from the interns, but I don't trust them.
Trust who?
Does he have
The
to be
company or the
if he's if in the case of mistaken gay identity, if he's fired for being gay but he's not really gay, can he still enjoy the protections of sexual orientation?
We're all a little gay.
I mean, first of all, I agree with Panda. Second of all, so there's an actually interesting case where a guy tried to sue for defamation because he was called gay, and the court was like, it's not an insult,
Yeah.
right? Which is, it's an interesting, right? The words that we use and all of that. Here, the definition of discrimination, I think, can be broad enough to include this because even though they did not participate in it's like firing someone because you thought they were Chinese, but they were really just looking in the sun at that moment, right? So, like
He forgot his Ray-Bans in his car.
yeah, I mean, look, I gotta tell you, I can't drive my car. Like, will stop and say like, "Wake up," because when I'm driving into the sun without sunglasses. So, there's definitely some case law on this, and I'm not sure in this particular situation, right? Because he's not in the protected class, but at the same time, he's being mistaken for being in the.
I don't know. For enough money, maybe he goes on 2 dates with his friend. It sounds like they've already been on one.
I mean,
I'm
look,
available.
Look, Panda's gonna go there for you. I don't think you can retroactively make it happen, but I think Panda's right. Everyone's a little gay.
I think the answer that we're trying to get to, Jeff, is you have a really interesting case here.
Yeah.
And I think lawyers are going to want to be interested in it. We're going to find you somebody that does a lot of employment discrimination stuff specifically, and we're going to get you a conversation with them. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds exactly what I was looking for, yeah.
Hey Jeff, I'm going to tell you, man. Both of these situations are terrible. We talk to a lot of folks, out there in the workforce, and they deal with this stuff a lot. And so it's really great that you would call in and talk about it. We're going to get you those resources. We really appreciate you being able to talk through it. And I know, like, people, if you've one of the people who listen to our show, if you've got a similar situation or you've had a good resource, or if you worked with a lawyer that was really good that you liked, leave that in the comment. Maybe it's not the one that Jeff can use, maybe it's a different state, but everyone needs to be helping each other, and we're glad to be a focal point for that. So
Yeah.
Jeff, definitely we'll send you these resources. Reach back out, let us know how it's going, but thanks for calling in today.
Yeah, appreciate everything.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
The gay one's tough, man. That's a tough one. Because, it's just a tough one. I thought one of my close friends was gay. Like, when he played volleyball, short shorts for it was cool and all that.
Yeah.
And then, a single guy. He goes, dude, I'm very... Dude had like 4 girlfriends. I was like, how can you play? How do you have legs? Like, how? Dude, banging everything, bro. I thought he was gay. I mean, very flamboyant, too, bro.
It's a crazy thing.
You just never know. He
crazy
just...
thing.
It's 2024. How much do you have to hate gays to not let them sell bathrooms?
Oh,
Like it's just like, I thought money mattered. Like, do people...
Yeah.
That's the weirdest.
Well,
the weirdest part to me is the company, right? Because like if
Yeah.
it's like, hey,
Who gives a shit?
I work at a church and I don't want a gay pastor. It's like I can kind of see. I can squint and I can see where they're coming from. I'm not agreeing with it. I'm just saying like I see it. You're selling bathroom remodels. And you're like no gays in here. It's like.
So I went to architecture school for a little bit at UTA. The gay dudes or the flamboyant, the best.
Yes,
bro. These motherfuckers didn't even were like this.
Have you seen straight bathrooms? They're not good. They're not.
They're efficient. They're efficient, but they look like shit.
I just want this company to come into the modern age and sell a product worth buying, and that means they need to get rid of this head of marketing or whoever else they got going on.
Dude, if the designer doesn't have a lisp, I don't want it, bro.
Yeah, and then also
Panda's
like
the
I
best.
like we joke a lot and stuff, but like it is we joke a lot on this channel, but we also care a lot. Okay,
Yes.
we care about our viewers, we care about our callers. If someone has ever given you shit for being gay in the workplace, reach out, call us. We're gonna get you taken care of.
Not if
gay.
it was Panda.
Not
If
for
it was
looking
Panda,
gay,
Oh.
Panda, for being
Yeah.
gay.
Eating a banana without the peel. Yeah, whatever.
If you have a crazy legal story and you want to talk to some lawyers anonymously, for free, call us.
Wait, we're not getting paid?
Nothing at all. I don't know how we're gonna pay for it, to be honest.